and far cheaper than actually waiting for the problem to catalyse itself in a global figure, such as we've talked about, 800 million for the UK, about 48-50 million for the Welsh economy.
Many sufferers turn to the private sector, where an even more pure form of B12 is available. They acquire infusions of the vitamin and then inject themselves using small under-the-skin injections. The Pernicious Anaemia Society is aware that celebrities such as Madonna, Tracy Emin, Jerry Halliwell, Robbie Williams and Lindsay Lohan regularly receive injections of B12, even though they do not have pernicious anemia.
I'm having the infusions done because I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia, but it's really to help, well, it's helping with all my symptoms as a result of that deficiency, such dramatic improvements. It's been a real help. My energy levels have improved, my hair's growing properly now. I've actually had the pernicious anemia for 30 years without it being diagnosed or treated. And yet, with the infusions and injecting twice a day, fairly high doses of B12, almost all my symptoms have cleared.
Other methods of treatment have been developed: nasal sprays, skin patches, sublingual drops, sublingual lozenges, and sublingual sprays. But none of these have been evaluated as to how effective they are.
It's not widely known that you can treat B12 deficiency even in patients with pernicious anemia with high oral doses of B12, but they need to be very high, at least 1 milligram, 2 milligrams daily. And that's not widely appreciated, but in other countries, Sweden and Canada, it's a routine form of treatment. The caveat being that patients with neurological symptoms really should more likely to have, it's better to give them injection. There's less evidence that oral treatment is as good for neurological symptoms.
Sublinguals, which are, I suppose, lozenges you put under your tongue, and they are successful, they certainly work. I know a lot of members use them as a top-up between injections, so I thought, again, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I'm going to try them.
Why it should be fixed at every 3 months, I have no idea, really. It doesn't make sense to me. Why it should be fixed at 1 ml of injection every 3 months, I have no idea. It seems to me that it's just dumbing down of medicine, you know, saying that, oh, everybody's the same. They're not the same, you know. There are people we have seen who clearly benefit best from having B12 injections several times a week. There are people who take high-dose sublingual lozenges every day and do well on that. There are others for whom the lozenges do nothing at all. They have to take it by injection. You know, everybody's different. There's a wide variation.
If the NHS wants to save money, teach self-injecting on a more frequent basis using subcut, evaluate the use of behind-the-ear patches, evaluate the effectiveness of sublingual drops, evaluate the effectiveness of sublingual lozenges. None of these have been evaluated, and yet they could save billions of pounds in healthcare worldwide.
Many patients cannot afford the alternative treatments available, and this leads to inequality in care and leaves patients feeling aggrieved by the way in which their healthcare is provided.
I am getting every day emails, letters, telephone calls, not only from Britain, from all over the world for help. Because eminent clinicians and neurologists do not know what to do. So I call this a forgotten illness. All these people are much more brilliant than I am. But they have lost the awareness of this condition. The art of diagnosing this condition is lost.
The interest in B12 deficiency from haematologists is low compared with the main work of dealing with leukemias, lymphomas, real patients who are ongoing problems, need major chemotherapy, need major treatment. Haematologists are not going to make pernicious anemia their specialty. They want to look at things that are hard to treat, not easy to treat.
I'm a pharmacologist who's come into nutrition fairly recently in the last 15 years. And I have to say that I'm actually appalled at how badly nutrition is taught in this country and the awareness of the importance of vitamins, in particular B12. there's a lot of complacency. And the standard answer which people give is, all you need is a good balanced diet. Now, I had a very interesting example of that recently. A well-known charity in the Alzheimer's field, when they were asked to comment on our finding of the trial, the Vitagoc trial, where we got slowing of brain atrophy by the B vitamins. Well, it's all very well taking these high doses, but all you need is a good balanced diet, plenty of fruit and vegetables. So I asked the question, is there any B12 in fruit and vegetables? Oh, isn't there? So, you know, there's a level of ignorance there which is quite appalling. And I think that we just need to educate people better. And the next generation of medical students, I hope, will be a lot better educated.
There needs to be an urgent review of the way in which B12 deficiency is diagnosed. And there also needs to be a thorough evaluation of the efficacy of alternative treatment methods, which will not only benefit patients, but will also lead to significant savings to healthcare providers and national economies.
If there are people out there who have got all these stories to tell, then we just need the clinical evidence to back up their stories, because unfortunately in this world we need to have that clinical evidence, and we have a system of doing that in this country, though there is talk about whether it will still exist, I'm not sure, but we have the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, and they should be looking at this and seeing what is the best and most effective, and one of their remits is cost effective as well. So if they're looking at cost effectiveness, then they would be looking at that whole issue of people being misdiagnosed or etc. to see how they could actually save money in the first place.
There's three things that can be done here. One is greater awareness and better information of the situation so that people can almost understand the symptoms themselves, so that when they do then go on to present to the GP, they can actually help the GP inform the diagnosis by giving a correct assessment of the symptoms that they've been suffering, because obviously GPs on a day-to-day basis experience a whole range of people coming through their doors, and obviously the more information that they can have, the better they are informed to make that diagnosis. Second is training for GPs and nurses as well, so that they can pick up the symptoms and, you know, correlate all those symptoms together to come up with the problem that can be diagnosed and treated, hopefully in a timely and speedy manner, so that people can get back on the path to recovery and playing their full role. And thirdly, there does seem to me to be greater need for research into this, so that we can actually understand how big a problem this is in the wider community here in Wales, and maybe with colleagues across the United Kingdom, because health is devolved, public health is devolved, and whilst Wales has a responsibility to look after Welsh people, there are wider issues here for the UK as a whole to look at, because obviously expenditure comes from Westminster, and there might need to be the case to be made to the UK Treasury for extra money to tax this issue in the health portfolio here in Wales.
There are serious problems with the diagnosis and treatment of pernicious anemia that nobody is addressing. But the evidence is there if only somebody would come and look at it.
Whilst these savings can be measured in money terms, the improvements in quality of life cannot. They are invaluable.
You know, I'm still writing chapters in books on B12 deficiency, and you know, one day if I retire, I just wonder who would do it, who's any real experience in the field.
The knowledge of this condition is diminishing. They are not taught extensively in medical schools. When Chanaran published his first book on megaloblastic anemia or B12 deficiency, it had 1,000 pages. Now it diminished to 8 pages. And even in that 8 pages, in the latest edition of Harrison's, there is nothing clear about B12. It is confused with folic acid.
I would just like to make a plea to the medical profession to please listen to everybody who comes in and says that the standard treatment for this is not working for them, to actually believe the people, that they know they're ill, they know what's wrong with them, they know when they respond and when they don't, to listen to them and to just let them try more frequent treatment to see if it helps, be a bit more flexible with it.
I believe a better regime of treatment from my doctor, if it was if he were to accurately assess when I needed the B12 injections and even talk to me about it, that would be absolutely fantastic.
better awareness of issues and you know, a simpler form of diagnosis, then I think that's would be a definite improvement.
What I would wish for is definitely much more accurate testing. We definitely need a much more up-to-date, state-of-the-art test, because as far as I know, these tests are inaccurate, they're out of date. We certainly need something much more modern.
And this is what's frustrating. I think a lot of money is wasted in misdiagnosis and wasted appointments when, you know, things could be done a lot earlier.
Something does need to be done, that there is a proper form of diagnosis and treatment for it, which at the moment there doesn't seem to be anything at all. It's very, very hit and miss.
We end the epidemic of B12 deficiency, that we start screening patients and we create public awareness and the medical community understands B12 deficiency. That would be my wish, that we could solve this treatable and preventable epidemic.
Once this becomes a national guideline by the National Clinical Excellence Body, that moment I wish to leave, because I know it is safe. The patients, not only my patients, the patients in the whole country is safe. The whole world will be safe. Will I see that day? God only knows.
This horrible fog of hell is what I would describe it as, and all that needn't be. And all that, you know, you're going to go through again. You know you're going to go through it tomorrow or the next day or whenever it's going to happen again.
Like the sun upon your skin, the wind blowing through your hair. And know by its very absence that the part of me is not there. The tears they fall so often, sometimes soft upon my cheek, sometimes harsh and sometimes silent, sometimes even in my sleep. I cannot make my body obey my mind's commands. I cannot feel water as it runs across my hands. But I feel much too strongly the sadness in my heart. All the anger in the world as my body fails to start. When the moons return in summer, I know I will be free. When the moons return in summer, I know they will bring me. When they left, they took a part of me that has no name. A feeling of growing, a presence. I need something I can't explain. Though most things I take within my stride, frustration grows. When I cannot do simple tasks my brain should really know. And steady in my walking, I plan each step with care. But the cruelest blow in all of this is when I hold you and you're not there. I watch my arms go around you. I feel as they connect. I see the smile upon your face, the sound you are content. My darling, I can feel you. There's nobody there. For in my mind, despite what I see, I'm holding fizzy air. When the moons return that the fog will go away.